Anti-Afro Svengalis, the question must be posed. Where is D.Derell, Dumpsey's wife? Do you think she's going to be charged in a federal indictment as well because she was working in that office? Number one. Number two, he was blaming people in the office for the billing. You remember he got in trouble with the state board? Let's look at this right here. He got in trouble. Well, they caught up to him rather in 2021 when this case was finalized. It was filed before that, I think 2020 or maybe late 2019. Dumpsey, D.Derell, was clean cold busted, fraudulently billing, claiming he was seeing clients that he wasn't. And he stole another counselor's NPI number so he could bill. And her name is all in the mix as the office manager. Reminding again, he said, I'm responsible. If my staff does anything, it's going to fall on me. Listen, people, nowhere was it ever mentioned. Dumpsey claiming staff made mistakes. No mention whatsoever, which leads me to believe that her role was concealed, or there was an attempt to conceal her role. Question is, why isn't Dumpsey speaking up about that? If Dumpsey D.Derell's wife was hiding stuff from him and caused him to be charged with 2 federal offenses indicted by the grand jury, don't you think he would have spoken up? I think she was just there to get paid. I think she was involved in other shady ways. Well, let's start right at the top. Dumpsey D.Derell's wife, Latashia, has been convicted of child abuse. Anyone convicted of child abuse is not permitted by law in no state to work with mental health programs, social services programs, medical services programs. They're not allowed to work at schools or where children or vulnerable populations receive services. But she was in there working in Dumpsey's office with that criminal conviction. I don't believe for 1 second that she had no involvement. I think she had involvement in another way. She benefited from that money and knew she was benefiting from that money. I think she needs to be charged as well. She's supposedly riding around in Mercedes-Benz. Where did that money come from? She needs to answer some questions. And don't even go there about talking about somebody's wife, because this is criminal activity. It is a crime to work in that office with the child abuse conviction. What did the other spouses do that was against the law besides M3? Beating up a kid and cyberbullying a kid. That's illegal. What about the other adults that were mentioned? What did they do illegal? Nothing. So if someone needs to be mentioned because of their criminal record, they just need to be mentioned. Everyone knows we'd never be spared, and I wouldn't even expect to be spared. Did Dumpsey D.Derell spare Rev G's wife when he would grind in chairs and make sexual comments about her, mentioning her name? Rev G's wife doesn't have any criminal record. She never beat her child, didn't even spank their kids. They have no CPS history. And Dumpsey D.Derell expects that his wife, who is a convicted child abuser, won't be mentioned. This is the same Dumpsey D.Derell who ran up and down the YouTube streets accusing every single one of my friends of criminal behavior, including being registered sex offenders, members of NAMBLA, DV abusers, you name it, he said it, and he integrated all of that with making sexual comments about the wives and the girlfriends. Nyla was going to come live with him because he lied and said Taz was beating her. Yes, your wife's going to be mentioned. Yes, that child abuse conviction, I'll talk about it all day, every day. Yes, I'm going to be speculating about how long it's going to take before the feds nab Latashia, Dumpsey's wife. How many times did the name of Rev G's wife come out of that nasty, disgusting mouth of Dumpsey D.Derell? How many other wives and girlfriends were mentioned in the most disgusting, vile, reprehensible, abusive, and sexually harassing manner? These are criminal charges. Criminal charges aren't anybody's personal business, past or current. They will be mentioned, just as we would be mentioned, but I don't even give a hoot. I'm doing it because I'm going to do it, and I don't give a crap what anybody else says or thinks about it. I'm sure she's been questioned, and she gave it up so quickly the last time when they nabbed her for child abuse. She probably got so scared that she started singing like a canary. She's probably going to strike a deal and testify against Dumpsey so she won't do any prison time. Regardless, I'm going to speak on it. I want to know what Latashia's role is. What is she going to be doing? How is that 2-bedroom apartment paid for when she was not living in the home? Who was paying for that? Where was the money coming from? Did she pay it? These are questions that need to be posed. These are very serious matters. Criminal charges have been filed, whether anybody wants to accept it or not. It's a done deal. I don't see under what circumstances the prosecutor would drop these charges. So let it begin. Those who benefited, benefited. But there are other videos coming about these other freaks who benefited. She sat by idly, knowing good and damn well that Dumpsey D.Derell was not working like that. He was not working like that. He was on the freaking YouTube. She knows he was on YouTube. How are you stay on YouTube all that time that he was on, then manage to bill and claim he saw clients? How is he going out of town, hanging around, going to different parties? I bet you he billed when he was out of town. We're going to get all this information, folks. Just be patient. But I want to know, is Latashia Spears going to be charged? We need to know. We are going to be waiting. This is very important. They were in cahoots with this billing fraud. And he had the nerve to get mad and say he was never assigned culpability. He was assigned culpability for this before. This is the way they learned how they could make money. I don't think Latashia would have stepped her ass in that office unless she knew she can get some bucks. She wasn't going there to volunteer to help a spouse. She went there because she wanted to justify getting paid stolen money. Dumpsey wanted that money to go back into his well so he could pay for the 2-bedroom apartment where the wife was living. That's why he put her to work and tried to make it legit. It's not legit if you're stealing money from Medicaid and Medicare. This investigation needs to go all over. It needs to extend to the son that came and got the son's computer or laptop. They took every laptop and computer out of that house and out of those 2 offices. So he could have gotten the son all wrapped up in this. Where did that tuition come from? A lot of questions, people, and we're going to get these answers. We're going to pursue these answers until we obtain these answers. So be sure you continue to tune in. Get the 411, get the updates. I'll be giving you facts, 100% facts, undeniable facts. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.